Hi, this is Robbie with Tickner Photography. I've had my Sony Alpha A7 for about a month now, and I just got back from a week and a half in China, and I thought I'd give a little update on my thoughts and feelings, what's working, what's not with this camera. For the most part, I like it. It worked quite well in China on vacation travel photography-wise. It's very light, which is nice and handy hiking up the Great Wall. You don't really notice the weight on your side like you would a giant SLR with a huge heavy lens. Like that a lot. Ergonomics-wise, the grip and everything, it's growing on me. It's pretty comfortable to use. You can use it all day long with no problem. And I'm starting to get used to the wheel layout while I'm shooting in manual. Switching focus points is still kind of a pain in the butt, but for the most part, it's working. So some pros and cons. Battery life was so-so. I mean, during the day, all day long, I could get probably walking around 10 hours or so on a single battery. I could get about 600 pictures-ish on a single battery. Then it would get down to like around 5%. I have 2 spare batteries. That's a must. Or at least one is a must. Second one is just backup. So at the end of the day, or 3/4 of the way through the day, I would switch my second battery in there. I was good to go. I have a huge memory card in there, 64 gigabytes, so not to worry about. The viewfinder in here is really nice. Although I almost prefer the one in the A77. For some reason, looking in this, if I am really fast in manual mode, not quite paying attention to the meter, I'll tend to overexpose images. Never happened on the A77, but happens a lot on this camera. Not sure, it must just be my eye or something. I've started to pay much more attention to the meter again, and everything's fine. So the brightness on here is just different than I'm used to, so something to keep in mind. Autofocus works pretty well, but it does leave quite a bit to be desired. I had a lot of images that were just slightly out of focus, which was annoying. Even when using the SLT mirror adapter so I can use my Sony Alpha lenses, I'm getting surprisingly blurry images. They seem like they're not quite sharp, and it's my shutter speed, I'm keeping that up, that's fine. Tweaked the micro focus adjustment for one of my lenses to match my Alpha, and that helped a little bit. So something to keep in mind. For some reason, even though this is supposed to be the same autofocus system as the A77, it doesn't seem to be quite as good for some reason. Not sure. Still trying to figure that out. It might just be my perception, but I seem to be getting more blurry images, even when my shutter speed is plenty adequate. One thing about the Sony A7 that I wish it had was a GPS integration. I don't know why they left that off. This is a perfect travel camera, but without GPS, it just seems very strange. And they added Wi-Fi, which I kind of find a gimmick on these cameras. In the next version of this, I really hope they can add GPS back, even if it means sacrificing Wi-Fi, which I don't use. GPS is essential. They probably did it to save battery life, but still, GPS is a very important feature for me to geotag images, especially when you're traveling around. They should come up with even a low-power GPS system where maybe it only checks in with the satellites once every 1, 5, 10 minutes or so, maybe it's customizable. So it wouldn't have to be constantly satellite locked, but only every once in a while to kind of figure out where you're at. Just an idea. I've also used this camera in the studio a fair amount since I got home, and I'll be posting pictures around here. For some reason, the maximum shutter sync speed on this I can get is about 1/60th of a second. If I push it at 200 and 2/50th, then I'm getting the black band. You can see the shutter in the shot with the flashes. So something's not quite right. I'm not sure if it's the electronic first curtain shutter or what, but it just seems strange. If I back it down to 1/60th, everything's fine, but one of the reasons I got the A7 over the A7R was because it could work better in the studio. So something to keep in mind. So now let's quickly talk about image quality. For the most part, this is pretty good. Looking back at the images, they're surprisingly okay. I guess I was expecting something spectacular or extra sharp just because it's a full-frame sensor, and it might be the lens, but it's no sharper at lower ISOs than the A77, which I found a little bit surprising. But as soon as the sun starts going down or you walk indoors and you have to start pushing the ISO on this, that's where the full-frame sensor really shines. I can shoot this camera at 3200, 6400 ISO, and it looks really surprisingly good. You can even push it up higher than that. Say, Here's a shot with 10,000 ISO. And it's usable. It's surprisingly good. So I was really happy with the ISO performance, and that's one of the reasons I got this camera. So happy with that. On my trip to China, I decided to leave my flash at home and just rely on high ISO performance, and that worked out for me. The kit lens that comes with this camera is okay. It's extremely light, which is great for walking around all day while traveling. Optically, it seems to perform okay. Variable aperture, which is a little bit annoying, but it works. So all in all, I think I'm pretty happy with this camera. I'm still not 100% sure that I'm going to keep it. I'm waiting to see what the next Sony full-frame DSLR shaped camera looks like, which will hopefully be out soon. To see if I'm going to sell this an upgrade or just buy that additional camera, I'm not sure yet. So we'll see. If I do any more traveling, this camera will definitely be coming with me. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.